Hello and welcome to what I hope is the first of many videos as a part of Gigsy's Creator Central. I'm your host Arvind, and joining me today is none other than the one, the only, and the charismatic CEO of Gigsy India. For those of you who don't know, Gigsy is a platform designed to help you turn your passion into profit. And over this video series, we're looking at different aspects that are of importance to creators, and we try to understand how can you, as a creator, turn your passion into profit. So first of all, thank you, Vikram, for taking the time to be here with me. I know it's good for business, but more importantly, I know that you are a musician yourself and you are a creator. So therefore, you know what it takes, the pain that's actually involved in being a creator. And you're also a successful businessman. Alumni from IIM Bangalore, definitely proved his chops in a number of different companies. And today, we're going to be talking about the one thing that almost every creator asks us when we are trying to start off something new. Hey, my list size or my audience or the number of subscribers I have on YouTube or the number of people in my email list, is that enough? So Vikram, take it away and tell us what you think about this and just launch off this conversation.
Yeah, well, your audience size doesn't really matter, but the right audience actually matters, right? So, for instance, if it's all about engagement, and let's say if you have around 20,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, even if 1,000 of them are engaging frequently, and it means that your propensity to actually convert them into a paying audience is actually pretty high. So, 20,000 subscribers don't really mean
Much.
they mean next to nothing if you
Right.
do not have an engaged audience.
Right. So speaking of an engaged audience, how would you define?
Yeah, so very simply, they're engaging in terms of writing comments on a particular video, liking stuff
Mhm.
continuously, sharing things across the board.
Right.
They're very interested in your creative journey. They ask you questions through comments about how you did what you did, what exactly are you going to be doing next, all of those things. These are very good signs of understanding that an audience is really engaged.
Right. And if I have understood you correctly, you're saying that if we do have an engaged audience, our ability slash our journey to turn our passion into profit becomes easier. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And they're very, in addition to being engaged, they're also aspiring to be like you, right? There's a little bit of aspiration also coming into the
Mhm.
picture.
What do you mean by aspiration? Can you just unpack that for me?
Oh, they might want to get to where you are already, right? I mean, if you are a musician, for instance, or if you're a dancer, or if you're a podcaster or a writer, they would love to know how you go about your craft. So that would also be one of the reasons that they're engaging with you quite a lot.
Right.
And that's very important, right? In terms of understanding if I have an engaged audience
Hmm.
as a result more than the numbers itself.
Hmm. Now, if my audience, let's say like I have, taking your example, I have 20,000 people, and of them, let's say 2,000 are engaged, right? Uh, I'm just trying to brainstorm some ideas that we could use and other creators watching this video can use to essentially start engaging with the remaining 18,000. Because I know for a fact that the majority of people who are there are not vocal, are not vocal at all. They might be lurking on your platform. They might really love your work, right? So can you think of some ideas that are, that can be employed to essentially take this large audience and kind of engage with them more? I'll go first. I have a couple. One would be to run interactive stuff like polls or choose your own adventure sort of a thing, right? So that could really help. Second thing I can think of is, let's say that you're creating something. So you are involving others as a part of the creative process as well. Could
Yeah.
you think of one or two?
Or you could also say that you will do video conferences with them, right? Even give them shout outs on your social media pages so that they know you're being treated a little more specially than anybody else. So it becomes a lot more personalized. It becomes a lot more
Mhm.
unique, different, right? And the engagement is taken to another level in addition to what you already said, right?
Right.
So I think a lot of these ideas can actually come together to make the audience a lot more engaged and go beyond the 1,000 or the 2,000 and get everybody else also roped in.
Right. Now, here's a funny thing that comes up when we're talking about numbers, right? I know this because I have been a part of the system before, where if I am a content platform or if I'm a brand owner, and if I'm trying to engage with a creator or somebody who has an audience, numbers seem to play a big deal. Like, bigger the audience size, uh, better could be my chances of getting funded or getting some money or payment. What do you think is going on here?
So there are a couple of games being played at opposite ends of the spectrum. One game is the influencer marketing game and
Hmm.
brand advertising game, right? And the
Right.
other one is being able to do what you love and still make money out of it. So on one hand, where you're an influencer, for you it's all about reach, right? It's all
Right.
about having those X number of followers across the board so that they are continuously looking at what you're posting on social media, right?
Hmm.
And for the other end of the spectrum, it's about knowing that there's an audience that is very engaged because they love what you're doing, right? And
Right.
as a result, you can actually make some money out of it as a result, right? And you have a nice engaged audience which wants you to create more and wants you to be involved and with them very consistently.
Hmm.
Now, that's a separate spectrum altogether. So you have different spectrums, and it just depends on where you are as a creator, right? Where you want to be operating, whether you want to be just looking at being an influencer, whether you want to actually create content, what gives you that kick.
Okay, that kind of makes sense as well. And another dimension I can think of making sense over here is even if brands are trying to engage with you as a creator. I mean, one parameter that they look at could also be the size of the audience, right? I'm not debating that. But I think another dimension that pops up is how how much can you actually mobilize this audience of yours to take action? I know
Yeah.
of people who, I could pay like about, I don't know, 6,000, 7,000 rupees, and I can get like about 1 million followers on Instagram, right? But is that of much value? I don't think so, right? So I get that. One of the things you had mentioned was about creating content. And, in our conversations earlier as well, you have mentioned creating content consistently. Can you just tell me a little bit about why that is relevant?
Well, it's important to keep your audience engaged throughout, right?
Hmm.
Trying to make sure that your audience is completely engaged and engagement doesn't really fall off a cliff, right? You want to keep them updated with consistent content, maybe even maintain a content calendar. Know that
Hmm.
you have something coming out at every instant of time, and they're
Hmm.
also very keen and curious to understand
Right,
what is coming next. You're
right.
consistently taking feedback from them, like you said about polls and everything else earlier.
Hmm.
So it's important to have that rhythm, that cadence with your engaged audience so that they know you're not just doing this for the fun of it. I mean, you're just putting out videos and you're not talking to anybody.
Right.
You're actually continuously engaging with them, and they know that you're very happy and you love the fact that these people are actually engaging with you,
Mm.
and you
I,
value their opinions quite a lot.
I see what you mean, and that does resonate with me. Like when I'm trying to build, for those of you who don't know, I am a creator on Gigsy as well. So one of the things that did stand out was if you actually have this calendar, if you put in that little bit of effort into planning and consistently delivering, you look like somebody who's on top of their game, right? Somebody who knows what they're doing. It also gives our fans and our subscribers a level of confidence to understand that, hey, this is okay. This guy knows what he's doing, so it's okay to go with it. You're the man with a plan, if you will. Now, speaking of creating content, I have personally faced this dilemma, and I'm sure that you have done as well. And the number of different creators on Gixie that we've spoken about, musicians, composers, dancers, coaches, they all have this thing about, well, I know that like topic A is something I really, really love to talk about. Topic B is what my audience loves, and topic C is what's hot in the market right now. Right? What are your takes on that?
See, you have a competency based on a certain form of creativity. You have to be really passionate about it, and then there is this engaged audience which likes a lot of things that you do. It's
Hmm.
very important, like I said earlier, to get feedback from them. Do a little bit of research, get
Hmm.
them to take part in some surveys, get feedback from them to understand what sort of content would really work, what sort of engagement would actually work for them, and actually see if you can get that 90-95% of that engaged audience to actually be continuously following you and engaging with you right from the get-go and never let the ball drop, right?
Hmm.
Now, the moment you let the ball drop, it means you're reducing the percentage of your engaged audience as a result, which means the monetization basically goes down even further.
Right. I was speaking to a composer the other day, through the one-on-one onboarding training programs that we have at Gigsy. And I mean, like literally, I was just helping him work through his content calendar. I was trying to say that, so this is the stuff that you're good at making, right? That is your music and your composing.
Absolutely.
That's cool. But, there is this other angle as well. And sometimes it's just not possible for us to create this music, right? I mean, for him to make a track takes him like a week or so. And that's a difficult rhythm, a difficult cadence to maintain. So I
Yeah,
recommended that, hey, you could look at opening up and being more authentic, more vulnerable, showing who you are as a human being. And there's some pretty interesting things that are popping out for that. So that's there. But thankfully, I do want to say that the tips that you have shared are things that have popped up in numerous one-on-one coaching conversations we've had with, this, right? We do this for just about most of the creators who pop in. For those of you who are just tuning in, we have reached the end of this conversation where we have, to summarize, one, established that it's not the size of the list, but how engaged your list is. This is very reminiscent of the 1000 True Fans article by Kevin Kelly, right? If you haven't
absolutely.
read it, I highly recommend that you Google for it. It's a wonderful article, explains the concept behind what we're trying to discuss here. Apart from that, we've also discussed that even though brands might be looking at big numbers, we probably just need to demonstrate that we can give them results. That's an important thing. We also spoke about having a content calendar, a plan, and a way forward so that your audience knows that you're not fooling around, you're actually serious. So that's another good thing. And finally, we also discussed the fact that engagement is perhaps the most important metric. You can talk about many different things, but as long as you are engaging your audience, you're going to be absolutely fine. With that, I want to thank Vikram for being a part of this, and I want to thank you, dear viewer, watcher, listener, seer, whoever you are, wherever you are. At Gixie, we are here to help you turn your passion into profit. We have the platform, the tools, the knowledge, and all the support that we can give you, along with a very strong and powerful and proud community of creators who will be there and who have gone through the same journey that you are going through right now or will be going through in the near future. Till the next one, this is Arvind saying over and out, and Vikram saying,
Log on to gigsy.in and become a creator.
awesome, Bando. Thank you.